You cut your finger right now, and within seconds, your brain already knows what to do. Grab a bandage, maybe some antiseptic. If it is deep enough, you drive to a clinic and someone stitches it shut under sterile light. Now rewind 100,000 years. You are standing barefoot on rocky ground somewhere in southern Africa. A sharp flint edge has just sliced your palm open during a routine tool-making session. Blood is pooling fast. There is no clinic, there is no stitching thread, there are no antibiotics. But you are not helpless, not even close, for roughly 300,000 years. Your ancestors treated broken bones, infected gashes, and even performed surgery using methods so strange they sound impossible. And yet the skeletal evidence proves they worked. Some of them worked remarkably well. Let us start with the oldest evidence we have. In 2018, a team led by the archaeologist Eric Trinkhaus re-examined a Neanderthal skeleton known as Shanidar 1, originally excavated from a cave in northern Iraq. This individual had survived a crushing blow to the left side of his skull. His right arm had withered from an old injury. He was partially blind. And yet his bones showed extensive healing. He had lived for years, possibly decades, after these injuries. That means someone took care of him. Someone fed him. Someone cleaned his wounds and kept infection from killing him. This was not a hospital. This was a dark limestone cave roughly 60,000 years ago. How did they manage infection without antibiotics? One answer might surprise you. Dirt. Not random dirt, specific clay. Across multiple continents, indigenous peoples have used particular mineral-rich clays pressed directly into open wounds. The anthropologist Timothy Johns documented this practice extensively in the 1990s. Showing that certain clays contain natural antimicrobial properties. They absorb toxins. They physically trap bacteria against the mineral surface. A study published in the journal PLOS One in 2008 by Linda Williams and Shelley Hadel confirmed that specific clay minerals can kill even antibiotic-resistant bacteria like MRSA. Your ancestors did not know the word antimicrobial, but they knew which clay from which riverbank stopped a wound from turning green and hot. That knowledge was not written down. It was carried in memory, taught by repetition, passed from one generation to the next, across thousands of years. Now picture a different scenario. You have taken a deep gash across your thigh from a hunting accident. The wound is too wide to simply press shut. Today, a surgeon would use sutures, sterile needle, medical thread, neat little knots. Your ancestors had their own version in multiple regions of Africa and South America. Healers used the heads of large biting ants, army ants or driver ants with massive mandibles. The healer would hold the edges of the wound together, then place a live ant so its jaws clamped across the seam of skin. Once the mandibles locked shut, the healer twisted off the ant's body, leaving the head in place as a natural staple. Row after row of ant heads holding a wound closed, this was not folklore. The practice was documented by European observers in Brazil as early as the 1600s and has parallels in East Africa that almost certainly predate written records by millennia. The mandibles are strong, curved, and sterile enough in practice that the method actually worked for superficial lacerations. Think about what that required. Someone had to observe that these particular ants bite hard and do not let go. Someone had to test whether the grip held after the body was removed. Someone had to teach the technique to the next healer. That is not primitive. That is engineering. But wound closure was only half the battle. Infection was the real killer, and your ancestors had another line of defense that sounds equally bizarre. Honey, raw, unprocessed honey, pressed directly into wounds. This is one of the most widespread ancient treatments on Earth. Documented from ancient Egypt to Aboriginal Australia to pre-contact North America, and modern science has confirmed exactly why it works. Honey is hyperosmotic, meaning its sugar concentration is so high that it literally pulls water out of bacterial cells through osmosis, killing them. It also contains small amounts of hydrogen peroxide, released slowly by an enzyme called glucose oxidase, and its thick, sticky consistency creates a physical seal that keeps new bacteria out while maintaining a moist environment that promotes tissue repair. A 2015 review published in the journal Wounds by researchers at the University of Waikato in New Zealand concluded that medical-grade honey is effective against over 80 species of bacteria. Your ancestors figured this out without a microscope, without chemistry, without a single published paper. So let us reconstruct what a serious injury actually looked like tens of thousands of years ago. You have taken a deep cut. A fellow band member washes the wound with clean water from a known spring. They press a specific reddish clay into the gash to slow bleeding and fight infection. If the cut is wide, they hold it shut, using ant head staples or thin strips of dried sinew. Then they pack the surface with a layer of honey and wrap it with broad leaves or a piece of soft animal hide to keep it covered. You are laid near the fire. Someone brings you food. Someone watches you through the night. That is not a guess. Each element of that scene has independent evidence behind it. And it did not stop at soft tissue. Your ancestors set broken bones. Archaeologist Sonia Zakrzewski examined healed fracture patterns across hundreds of prehistoric skeletons from North Africa and found clear evidence that limbs had been deliberately immobilized during healing. The bones were aligned, they were splinted. Without modern imaging, without metal pins, people figured out that a broken arm needed to be held straight and still until it fused back together. Some of the most startling evidence comes from skulls. Trepanation, the practice of deliberately cutting or scraping a hole in the human skull, is one of the oldest known surgical procedures. We have skulls with trepanation holes dating back over 10,000 years from sites in France, Peru, and Kenya. And here is the astonishing part. Many of these skulls show clear bone regrowth around the edges of the hole. That means the patient survived. Not just survived the procedure, but lived long enough afterward for the bone to partially heal. A study by physician and anthropologist John Verano at Tulane University examined over 800 trepan skulls from ancient Peru. The survival rate improved dramatically over time, from around 40% in the earliest examples to over 80% in later periods. That is a learning curve. That is accumulated surgical knowledge passed down and refined across generations. These people were getting better at brain surgery thousands of years before anyone understood what a brain did. Why did they do it? The reasons likely varied. Some cases were probably responses to head trauma, an attempt to relieve pressure from a depressed skull fracture. Others may have been ritual or spiritual. But the skill was real. The survival rates prove it. Here is what all of this tells you about your own body. You carry instincts that your ancestors relied on every day. The urge to press a wound, the impulse to keep an injury clean, the knowledge deep in your gut that a sick person needs rest, warmth, food, and someone watching over them. These instincts did not come from nowhere. They were shaped by hundreds of thousands of years of trial, error, death, and survival. Modern medicine is extraordinary. Antibiotics, anesthesia, imaging technology, organ transplants, none of that should be dismissed, but it is built on a foundation that stretches back far deeper than most people realize. Every suture descends from a row of ant heads. Every antiseptic ointment is an echo of riverbank clay. Every wound dressing is a version of honey and leaves. You cut your finger today, and within seconds your brain already knows what to do. It has known for a very, very long time.